You know, just as I was about to edit this, we had the fucking changes that came around, which, by the way, great job, Respawn. Really happy about that. Still, this was pre-nerf RE, just a warning. I was right. Something was going to piss me off this season. The RE-45 burst. How did we get here? Like, genuine question. This gun is incredibly busted right now. I don't know how or why, but we got here. We are now in a universe where the RE-45 is the single best gun in the game, and I fucking called it. It has become meta, and it's not even remotely funny. It went from a gun you'd get off drop and be happy with for a little bit, until you can replace it with something better like an AR or, you know, an SMG, to an oppressive DPS monster that spits out more damage than a fully charged Nemesis, at a much faster fire rate too. So, what the hell happened with this gun? I decided to do some testing and diving into the raw stats and painstakingly going frame by frame from bullet that was fired to a second and even the emptying of the mag. I tested it all, ran some calculations going off of the base RPS, and, well, let's just start off with the context of that, shall we? Let's just start with the old RE-45. It was a meddling weapon. A light ammo machine pistol that, depending on where you hit, did either 14 to the body, 18 to the head, or 13 to the legs. Fortified characters took 12 to the body and 11 to the legs. According to some stats, mainly from the wiki, you'd end up with a DPS of 182. Not bad. You had some margin of error, but it wasn't very forgiving. And that was thanks to its old RPM of 780. It spat out bullets, but it wasn't great. So all in all, pretty mid-tier weapon. There were far better options for later into the match when you dropped the RE-45, but you couldn't really complain. You had a weapon that could one-mag someone with grey shields quite comfortably off drop. For the first fight, very important. It had its uses, and it certainly did respectable damage. It was easy to control, and overall a fairly consistent weapon. Wasn't much to write home about in all honesty, as it was always outclassed by other fast-firing SMGs like the R99, CAR, or Volt. So what did Respawn do to this thing? Like any respectable company that wants to completely blow up the meta with fucking C4, they decided to chuck the RE-45 into what's essentially a pack-a-punch machine and spat it back out. The RE-45 burst, everybody. Like its name entails, the RE-45 burst is a burst weapon. Who could have fucking guessed? Ballistic decided it was a good idea, fucking Ballistic, to convert the weapon into a 3-round burst machine pistol. And here is the really funny fucking thing. It does more damage than a fully spooled up Nemesis, and it still has easy to control recoil at mid-range. After doing the calculations and going by from the frame a bullet is fired up to 1 second, it fires 13 rounds per second. You times that by 60, you get 780 RPM, the exact same RPM as the old RE. So the RE burst maintains its respectfully high RPM even when it's converted to burst. Ballistic, I don't know how you did it, but I respect it. What really turns out to be the kick in the nuts for this fucking thing is the DPS test. Now, I tested this on the firing range targets, the square firing range targets, you know the ones, and knowing that the outer boxes of the square targets do leg damage, meaning I could easily calculate the DPS of the weapon, which, spoiler alert, it was 180 damage a second to the legs. So we have the DPS for the legs, which is 180, so in turn we just calculate the RPS with the damage of a single bullet, and we get this. 17 times 13. That's 221. 221 damage. Do you see the fucking problem here? Because I sure as shit do. This gun is spitting out enough damage to down someone with Evo upgrade on purple shields. And that's on a stock magazine. And it has the capacity to down someone in a second with purple shields and still have change left over. And because it's a pistol, it has bar none the best weapon handling in the game. Ability, best handling, best strafe. When you consider all of that with the raw DPS that this thing spits out, you can see where it starts to become more of a problem. And that's without an extended mag. 13 rounds is all it takes to down someone. 13 fucking bullets. That's 5 bursts. Well, more accurately, 4 bursts if you need to kill someone. And that's without an extended mag. The gun's a monster, and of course with all these calculations, they're done without fortified in mind, but even then, the calculations still end up with most of the big boys dying in 2 seconds, or under a second if you sprinkle in a headshot or two, which considering the hitboxes of this game and how most people are crackheads with their aim, and anyone that can actually use this gun well, you're gonna sprinkle in headshots and you'll still go down in under a second. It's incredible to see this gun go from middling to dominating, all because the devs decided to change its fire mode and jam steroids into its ass. If they wanted the RE-45 to be meta, then they've got it. And holy fuck, it is one of the strongest things this season next to Caustic. It fucking annoys me. And all of these stats is the gun in its base form. You add in those extended mags, and your margin of error just dramatically increased with this gun. And here is a comprehensive table of statistics going off the information and then pairing it with the scaling on the guns with extended mags. As you can see, it doesn't matter what you're doing, if you are hitting shots, you are bare minimum doing 270 damage off of stock. Off of 18 bullets, and it slowly scales and it gets worse, going from 300, 360, 315, 360, and 405, because those are the minimum damage amounts you can get if you're going for just the legs. You're still downing nearly 3 people with the legs. Body shots only, 459 at level 3. Headshots only, 567 at level 3. Oh, and here's also the damage for the fortified big boys, and as you can see, it's still a fucking problem. You can still overkill someone just fine. You can still kill someone by shooting them in the fucking legs if you wanted to. And you scale it up, you're still killing them. You're still killing someone. You can crack a red shield, or it's essentially the equivalent of a red shield this season, without any extended mag. It's mental to think that this gun in any way, shape, or form is balanced. The numbers here say it all, and with the fact that you scale from 18 rounds to 27 based on the level of extended magazines you have equipped, not only including just the headshot multiplier, just on a numbers basis, a gameplay basis, and a general balance basis, this thing is a monster. Something that should have probably never left the conceptual testing stage. I get it, the whole idea behind shifting the meta around and changing around guns to better suit these purposes, but the RE-45 this season feels like a care package weapon without the restriction of being in the care package. It's incredibly overtuned, and I personally think a reduction in either its damage or its magazine capacity to get it more in line with the other weapons is a good idea. Personally, I'd say nerf the magazines. Reduce the damage by 1 or 2, and drop the magazine size. There, bada bing bada boom. You've got it back to being a mid-tier weapon. I'm baffled in all honesty. And I didn't even talk about the fact that this thing is incredibly good with its hip fire, and it has access to laser sights, meaning it just gets better. With all the good things that the season has going for it, except its rank system, I heard from multiple people and most of my mutuals that it's disgustingly bad. The RE-45 burst is the biggest pain point of weapon balance bar none, regardless of its absurdly high damage numbers. Where this becomes a problem is the fact that because it's a pistol, it has pistol handling speed and strafe speed like I said. Close range gunfights is where this gun devours everything, unless someone misses the entire magazine, which is fucking impossible, by the way. Fighting 1 is a problem. Fighting 3 is on grounds of backflipping out of a window at Mark fuck you. Yeah, safe to say, the RE-45 burst, with the testing that I have done, tells me that this gun needs some balance changes stat. In anything outside of wildcard, this gun dominates with extreme prejudice, and the reason why I say wildcard, the P20s exist in that mode. Mythic weapons exist in that mode. The fucking baseball bat exists in that mode. I can say this with absolute confidence. Next time you get destroyed by an RE-45, just know that the gun is on incredibly fucking strong stats on paper and in game. I'm annoyed. I'm fucking annoyed. First it was the previous season's meta, now it's this season's meta. Which, by the way, it's still Caustic. It's Caustic. Why else wouldn't it be fucking Caustic? Then there's Ash, which free movement still, and I mean Bangalore I'm actually not really worried about, but you know, you get the idea. Anyway, I'm going back to being chokeslammed by the RE-45. Links are in the description. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with your friends or anyone that needs to know about the information on the RE-45. And if anyone actually wants to double check my calculations and do some tests for me, do let me know in the description below, but not description, comment section. I'm gonna go and take a nap. I'm very fucking annoyed with this gun. It's been Azura, and I'll see you next time. Doodles!